school or if you're a mortgage guy or title, this is a way to free up 10 to 20 hours a week and scale to multiple six figures. So if you don't know who I am, Mathhew Grahham, I've been in the business 27 years, sold over 3,000 properties in my career. So I've owned a couple franchises. I was a team leader at one of those franchises, if you can also know what that is. Currently, I'm an area leader in Kansas City area, Overland Park, Kansas. It's a big metro area. Epic power coach. I've been coaching agents for about 14 years now, so I've coached about 200 agents one-on-one and thousands via group coaching. Founder and CEO of 80/20 Virtual Assistants. So let's get started. First, I want you guys to meet Jennifer. So Jennifer was a coaching client of mine. Jennifer came to me. She's been in the business about 4 years. She does about $6 million in sales, right? But she works alone, no assistants. She's working 60 to 80 hours a week. So she calls me up and says, Matt, I need your help. Can you help me in coaching? Yes, this is her daily routine before we started coaching, right? Does this sound familiar to anybody? She wakes up and the first thing she does, she grabs her phone. She's checking her emails, right? Her kids are getting ready. She's cooking breakfast, checking her emails, has a laptop going there. During the day, she does go on some appointments. She's buried in paperwork. In the evening, she's cooking, checking her emails, getting everything. And then she's on the phone and catching up with everything until midnight, right? So 6 million looks great on paper, okay? That's good, right? She does about 18 transactions a year, 180 in gross. After expenses, she's netting about 98,000, but she's working 80 hours a week with zero balance. No time freedom, missing soccer games. Who's been there? Who's been at the baseball game, the soccer game, the phone rings, oh, I got this offer, and you're walking away from watching your kids because you have to take this call, right? So overloaded with paperwork, right? Transaction details, right? Losing leads, right? Lofty's amazing, having it right there on your phone to put them in there right now. I will never forget the time I had this amazing lead, and my lead system for many years was the Post-it notes, right? And I remember cleaning out my car one day, and I'm vacuuming, and right under the seat, I pull it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was $1 million lead. $1 million lead there. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I looked everywhere, and literally right under my seat, it just flew under there. Right, oh yeah, it was, and then, but did I call it? Of course I called it. Oh, well, I talked to you 3 weeks ago. We already bought something, right? It's, so does this sound like anybody? Burnout's real? Who's been in the business 5 years or more in here? Okay. Have any of you ever experienced burnout? Okay. Who's quit and come back, right? Or retired, right? And then, oh, well, yeah, I need to get this. So whose family has been fed up, right? I've gone through 2 divorces in 27 years of real estate, okay? So it happens. So then something changed, right? So Jennifer, she calls me up. She's like, I need some coaching. So what we did is we went in, we did our productivity audit. We'll talk about our 80/20 audit here in just a second. Figured out what her buyback rate was, okay? We looked at, when we first brought her in, we looked and we realized that she was only working 20% on her core business, on the dollar producing stuff that you need to generate business. She's spending 80% of her day on admin and paperwork, right? So she might as well just go get paid a salary to be admin, but she didn't want that, right? So we figured out what her buyback rate is. So if you want to make $250,000 a year, you are worth $125 an hour. Any other work that you're doing that's not worth $125 an hour, you're losing money, and we'll get into this. So over the next 18 months, we went in and we built her a new team based off of AI tools and based off having a CRM like Lofty and getting some virtual assistants to help run her business, right? So in 18 months, this is what she did. She went from 6 million to 15 million Went from 80 hours a week of working down to 40 hours a week, and now she's just focused on listings, negotiation, and leverage, right? Her morning, now she does her miracle morning every morning. Who's read the book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning? Okay, amazing book. I'll give you a brief. You should have an hour of power every morning, right? Where you're focusing on you, right? Leave that phone aside. If you could become a coaching client of mine, you're not allowed to check email until 11 o'clock, right? This is real estate. It will be here tomorrow, right? My first mentor, I started in Phoenix, Arizona, selling commercial real estate, Colliers International. We're in the retail division. Tom Woods, who at the time was one of the biggest, best retail brokers in the whole country. And that's one thing he said, Matt, there's never a fire in real estate. It will be here tomorrow, right? I tried to question that, and I told my team that once. I used to have a sign on my door that said, I'm currently lead generating. If you have a problem and interrupt me, you just became the problem, okay? Because you got a time block, and we'll talk about that. But here's, one time my assistant comes, and she was scared, I could tell. She's like, real soft, and I was like, I opened the door, I was like, what? She's like, I know you said there's no fires in real estate, but our listing's on fire. And I was like, okay. I was like, is the fire department on their way? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, I'll get to it later. What am I going to do? It was a vacant house. I knew which house it was, a vacant house. I was like, anybody in there? No, it's fine, right? So there are fires, but what was I going to do? Run there and bring a hose with me, right? True story, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, I better go check on this listing. I'm driving there. As I'm pulling up, I see smoke coming up. And I pull up and the house is on fire again. So then I could do something, right? Okay. So her whole life changed. So Jennifer went from overworked to CEO. Now she feels in control, and that's what we want to do for you guys, right? Jennifer isn't unique. This is a lot of people in this business, whether you're in title, mortgage, real estate, right? Burnout is common, but we can change it, and it is possible. So the truth about scaling, you can't do it alone, right? No one's gotten to the top alone. You're going to have to use systems, tools, and people in order to get to a place where you have more freedom. So what about you guys? Who feels like Jennifer in here? Are you Jennifer, right? As we're, right? So we're going to see, I want you guys to embrace the journey, right? And then everything that you want exists on the other side of fear, okay? So first what I want to talk about is the Leverage Playbook and the 2020 edition. So doing more deals in less time and focusing on that 20% that moves the needle. So who's heard of the Pareto principle or the 80-20 principle? Okay. If you have not heard about it, briefly, what it is, there was an economist back in the late 1800s, Pareto, and he started noticing stuff. He first came up with this principle based on his soybean crops that he saw. So he noticed that 20% of the pods of all his soybeans that he was growing produced 80% of the crop. And then he looked further, and he was an economist, so he's like, you know what? He started noticing that 20% of the wealth was held by 80%, did I get that right? 20% of the people held 80% of the wealth, right? Okay. And in real estate, we're going to look here. 20% of your marketing efforts drives 20% of results, right? 20% of your tasks create 80% of your closings. So what we want to do is you want to focus on that 20%. What is that 20% that's going to get you 80% of the results? And vice versa, get rid of the other stuff that is the 80% that's only getting you 20% of the results. Like Jennifer, we looked at everything, and in doing what we're getting ready, and you guys are going to love this, do her audit, your 80-20 audit, you're going to figure out what am I spending most of my time on? Because most agents are spending 80% of their time on that 80% BS that only gets them 20% of the results because they feel busy, right? Anybody ever, have you ever gone into a typical real estate, the brick and mortar office, and a lot of you are over 5 years, so you've been in a brick and mortar office, but you stroll in there, and even if you get there early, it's completely empty. Most agents don't start strolling in until about 10 o'clock, right? And then they're over by the water cooler or the coffee, and they're talking, and they're kind of just chit-chatting. They're not working, but they do feel busy. And then all of a sudden they see that flyer for that agent open house for free tacos. Oh, and it's 10:30 and it starts at 11. So let's all go and they're busy, right? They feel busy. What'd you do today? Well, we went to this open house. We looked at this house. Is that dollar producing? No, it does nothing for you. So we're going to focus on that. So what are your dollar producing activities, right? So these are the top 10. Lead generation is number 1. Following up on leads, setting appointments, listing presentations, showing properties, negotiating contracts, huge. That's why we get paid the big bucks, right? Asking for referrals, hosting open houses, if you hold the open house correctly, right? So I have an open house system called the Next Level Open House that generates between 20 and 50 people to every open house. Every agent that's used it has closed 1 deal per open house if you do more than just a couple. You can't just do 1 and expect it. It's a whole system. But if you want to close 12 more deals next year, do 12 more Next Level Open Houses. If you want to close 50 more deals next year, do 50 Next Level Open Houses. It's hard to do more than about 50 in a year. All right. Networking and relationships. Here's the 80% BS, right? The non-dollar producing activities. This is what we don't want to focus on. This is what we want to leverage out. So where are you spending most of your time? And I would challenge you guys to look at the 20% activities and narrow it to the 20% of those. Let's reduce that down to what are the top 3 things that you need to focus on. And you may ask me, what are those 3 things? I don't know. I haven't sat down and talked to you, right? We don't know what your niche is. We don't know where you want to focus on. What are you good at? But you need to be focusing on at least 3 things in there, and you should be spending 80% of your time on those 3 things, okay? So the 80-20 productivity audit. This is kind of painful, but I'm going to tell you what it is, right? So it takes about a week to do. If you want to do it for 2 weeks, even better. Most agents make it 3 days because it's painful. But if you want to 10x your business, you have to do this productivity audit, right? So what it is, pick the day you're going to start. I usually start on a Monday because it's the start of the week, right? And I want you to take your phone and go to the little app, and on the timer, I want you to set a timer for every 20 minutes. Okay? Now, when that timer goes off, I want you to stop real quick. It takes 2 seconds, maybe 5 seconds. You can do a voice app, and all I want you to do is just record or write down. If you carry a notebook, I know I have like 10 notebooks, but they're always somewhere else, right? So I use the notes. I just go into my notes and I go, okay, here's what I'm doing when this went off. I stop the timer, I start it again, and I say, okay, I'm driving down the road listening to country music, or I'm driving down the road and I'm doing my driving university and I'm listening to, John Maxwell or whatever on leadership, right? So just tell it what you're doing. At the end of the day, you're going to have your list of everything you did for every 20 minutes for that day. Now I want you to go in and I want you to tag each event that you did and put, is it a 20% that gets you 80% of the results? Or is it an 80% that only gets you 20% of the results, right? So do this every day for a week and chart it out and then see, okay, where are you spending most of your time on? This is a huge wake-up call, right? So once you figure out what your top 20% and when you're doing it, you need to focus on that. All that 80%, this is going to free up some time really quickly because you're going to be like, most of you are probably doing just mostly 80% work. All the 80% stuff, we want to identify it and delegate it either through AI, a system, or a VA. Okay? Any questions on this audit? It's brutal. but some of the top agents have gone through this. So then what we want to do is go in and design your perfect week. And Don was talking about time blocking earlier. So if, who has a perfect week done up? Who knows exactly what they're doing or what they should be doing every single week? Right? Awesome. A few of us? Okay. So the perfect week isn't to follow to a T exactly every time, because that's impossible. Stuff comes up, life happens. But it's to have a template of what you should be doing. So we're going to go about how to plan a perfect week. So what I want you to do is when you get back, you can literally Google perfect or a week calendar where it has Sunday through Saturday, and I want them in at least hour, if not half hour increments, starting at 5 a.m. going to 11 p.m. What you do after that, we don't really care, right? So it's all right. You getting your app downloaded? Starting your timer already? Here's what I'm doing. Okay. So planning your perfect week. So here's what you do. In planning the perfect week, and we're going to talk about planning. So I personally, the first thing you want to plan in your perfect week is your planning time. So when are you going to sit down and plan out your week, your day, even your hour, right? But I go even further. I plan out my whole year. I have kind of a perfect year, especially when it comes to my planning time. I take 3 days every year to plan my next year. So I will go into another city. I'll fly there. I will turn off my phone and I will have my laptop so I can't get notifications on it. And I will sit there for 3 days and try to create my vision for the next year, rewrite my goals, and plan the next year. Okay? So plan your plan time first, right? So in your calendar, and if it's just for the week, okay, when am I going to plan the next week, right? Is it going to be on a Sunday? Is it going to be on a Monday morning, right? Is it going to be on a Friday evening? Plan it out there. You should be planning 3 days for a year. You should take a full half a day to plan your month. And you should take at least an hour to plan your week and at least 15 to 20 minutes to plan your day every day. Time block that in there. Write in the perfect week. And if you have a piece of paper, literally block it off, right? And then write in there, planning time. We plan first, because if we don't plan to plan, then we're planning to fail, right? So we're planning our planning time first. Then we want to plan our playtime, okay? What's playtime? Well, that would be your miracle morning. That's your exercises playtime. That's your date night. Who has a date night in here? If they have a significant other, right? Why do so many marriages fail? Divorce. But people they stop dating, right? So you have to plan that in there. We all get busy, especially if you have kids. I'm a single dad, full custody of twin 16-year-old boys, right? They keep me busy. Swimming, wrestling off season, right? I mean, just the girls, I mean, it goes on and on. So plan your playtime, right? Put those vacations in for the full year. How many vacations do you guys want to take next year? How many weeks? How long do you want to do it? Plan it first, right? As soon as we're done with this week at the Real Estate Roadshow, we are sitting down and we're planning all next year's roadshows, right? We're putting in the dates first and then figuring out the places. Because if it's not in there, you won't make it happen. How many times he's like, well, after I close a couple more deals, then we'll go on a vacation. If you have it planned and you don't have to know where you're going, but you're going somewhere, right? Even if it's a staycation, right? Okay, this week I'm taking off no matter what. It gives you incentive also. Then we're going to go in and we're going to plan our top 20%, right? So you have your planning time done, all your play time done. Don't fill up 80% of your calendar with playtime. Eventually you may get to with what we go through, but then we're going to plan our 20%. It's those top 10 activities that get us 80% of the results. All right. So after we have that, we take our buyback loop, right? So we do our audit and we're going to transfer everything that is the 80% to AI or VAs and free up our time for revenue growth. All right. So the buyback rate. What is the buyback rate? This is what you can spend on AI systems or people, okay? So an example, if you want to make $250,000 next year, right? Divide that by 2,000 hours, that's 40-hour work week, 50 hours a week. Divide that, which gives you $125 an hour, then divide that by 4. That's your buyback rate. So in this case, $31.25. If you can hire somebody or get a system to do it for less than that, do it. Because if you're not, you're losing money every time, right? If you are worth $125 an hour and you're doing 15, or let's say you're doing $10 an hour work, you're handwriting your direct mail, right? That's $10 an hour work, right? So what's that costing you? If you're worth $125, it's costing you, every address you write, it's costing you hundreds of dollars, right? So you got to shift your mindset. Like Don said, we got to change our mindset, but anything. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of some AI and what it costs, and I have some costs in here. We're also going to talk about virtual assistants, which have changed my life. The average VA, that when we get all our VAs from the Philippines, the average VA is about $5 an hour. Okay, and some people think that, we're taking advantage of them. $5 an hour in the Philippines is, if you're working a 40-hour week, is the equivalent of making about $50,000 a year here. Okay, so we're not taking advantage of them. It's because of the exchange rate. And most of them have, at that rate, have a 4-year college degree, and a lot of them got their degree from here in the States and then went back for their family over there. All right, so the return on investment is clear, right? So again, this is estimating pretty high at $8 an hour, but let's just say it costs you $8 an hour and they work 20 hours, okay? It saves you 20 hours of work and it costs you $160. What did we say your average per hour was? $125 if you're wanting $250,000. It only costs you $160. And 20 hours of focusing on nothing but lead generating activities, that 20% that gets you 80% of the results, do you think you could add a couple extra closings? I have in here per month, which we have most of our clients do per month, add 2 extra closings per month. But what if that was just 2 extra closings in a year? An extra $15,000, just 1 year, and freeing up a bunch of time, okay? So understanding your buyback rate, okay? If you're trading just time for money, that's income, right? That's income. It's, you clock in and you clock out. What are you worth? All right? But when you leverage and trade money for time, that equals leverage. And then when you can trade money for money, that's freedom. Okay? So the goal is freeing up 10 to 20 to 30 hours a week for you strictly to focus on those dollar producing. Now I'm going to tell you guys, if you get 1 virtual assistant, you're going to get 3 really quickly because you free up so much time very quickly. And once you get in the flow and you're like, wait a minute, for $160 a week, I can have them do all that. I'm an idea person and I start things and a lot of times I don't finish them. Because I just get bored. I have ADD way up here. So I'm like, this is an amazing idea, and let's get it started, and we go. And then, Don, don't laugh at me. He's like, I know. It's true. But virtual assistants have changed because now I'm just like, here's what we're going to do. I don't know how we're going to do it, but get started on it. And literally in a week, they're like, we're done. And I'm like, we're done with what? And they're like, what you said. And I'm like, we are done. Okay, let's move to the next thing. All right, let's tweak it a little bit, right? So I always focus on now, it's the 10-80-10 rule, right? See a pattern here? I love the 80-20 principle. It's literally changed my life, leverage. So I'll go in with a project and I will give them the first 10% and I will get it started. That's the first 10% of the whole project, right? Here's the 10%. Here's my vision. Here's what I want to do. Here's my idea. I've already researched some of the stuff because I'm a geek when it comes to trying to figure it out, but then I get bored and I kind of figured it out and I know where to go look for it again, but I didn't get into the weeds with it. But I tell them, here's where you figure it out. They go figure it out. They do the 80% stuff, and then I jump back in at the very end and do the last 10% and tell them to tweak it, right? So it's a way to work with them and really make this happen. Okay, so besides VAs, AI, I'm obsessed with AI. The tools, I'm going to give you some tools that you guys can use right now in real estate. What I've used almost all of these. A couple have been recommendations from other people because I now just give all my AI, and I'm training my AI to learn how to do this. So, ChatGPT. Sylvia loves ChatGPT. We'll talk about ChatGPT. This is my favorite. I pay the premium, get the higher levels. The thing with ChatGPT, what I see too many agents doing is they go in and they use it as a Google search, right? It's not a Google search. It will do the Google search and it'll give you the one answer that you want, but you need to learn to not search, but to prompt, okay? So you need to ask it questions. When you get an answer, don't just take that answer as fact, right? Go in, and if you're not happy with that answer, ask it to explain how it got that answer. Ask it to do more. Say, this is not what I was looking for. I want to go more in this direction. I want to find this out, because you got to prompt it what to do. Really quick, I'll give you a prompt that how many have used it to write an MLS description, right? A couple of people? Okay. If you're not, you're behind already, because it's that's the one thing I've been in real estate 27 years. The one thing I hated was writing MLS descriptions. Here's a little way to do it. First, I would take pictures. If you already have the pictures, download some of the pictures in there of the property. ChatGPT will look at those pictures and write based off what it sees in those pictures. Okay. I also take, if I have the old MLS, let's say it was within the last 5 years, I will download the old MLS PDF in there. And then here's the key. I will tell it to write me an MLS description and highlight the benefits of the features of the house, okay? So what is the benefit of having a large deck off the back, okay? What is the benefit of having hardwood floors? Well, you don't have to vacuum, right? You have to sweep, but you don't have to vacuum. Easy cleanup. Those are the benefits. The benefit of a deck is enjoying the outdoors so if you just give it that one sentence though, give me the benefits of the features, it's going to write an amazing description for you. ChatGPT is my favorite. We all know about that. Opus Clips, AI tool. So this is where you go in and record and you turn long form content into short form content. Does everybody know what long form content is? So long form is basically the podcasts or the YouTubes, okay? So where it's 30 minutes, an hour, 45 minutes of you just, like up here, this would be, if you're recording all this is long form content, all right? So long form content is great for YouTube. Then you break it down, okay? So this will break it down. It will give you all the hooks and everything you need to turn it into short form, which is going to be for Instagram and all that stuff. So virtualstaging.ai, okay? Anybody have vacant homes? Virtual staging. They cost here at Epic, we get this for free. All right, I think we get, 60 pictures a month, 50 pictures? Yeah, okay.
Some updates to it too, so it's going to be something new.
Yeah.
Right now, it's 50 months.
Yeah. I will tell you, I just did this the other day because I went to, before the photographer got there, and I was helping clean up, and I just could not, didn't have time, and there was some trash in front of the garage of a house. And I came back, and I thought the homeowners were going to go move it. Nobody moved it. The photographer took the picture, just some trash in front. I just went and stuck it in ChatGPT, that photo, and said, can you please remove the trash in front of the garage door? And it did. Right? So you can use ChatGPT. It takes a while. It's a lot longer process. And sometimes it doesn't always get it right in ChatGPT. But virtual AI is amazing. Beautiful AI, if you want to make presentations, right? So any booklets, flyers, or presentations like this. Beautiful AI is amazing. $12 a month. It's AI slide design, polished all sorts of stuff for, if you want to create flyers or anything. But my favorite for presentations is Gamma. Okay, so Gamma, I didn't put the cost in here. I think I paid for the yearly version. I think it's like a little over, I think it's $125 a year. This whole presentation took me about 30 minutes to make. That's from concept to slides. Okay, so here's what I did. I went to ChatGPT and I did the voice where you're just talking to her and she's talking back to you. And I basically told her everything I wanted in this presentation. I was giving the presentation. That took a little bit of time, but then I said, now, she came up, she's like, okay, I said, give me an outline for a presentation. She gave me an outline. After that, I said, okay, now take that outline and put it in slides, and so I can download it straight to Gamma. And it already knows what Gamma needs to have it come out perfect. Then I just highlighted all those. I took them into Gamma. It even gave me, I said, even give me suggestions for visuals and color scheme and all that. I just downloaded into Gamma, hit click, and in like 3 minutes, the whole thing's here. I had to swap some around a little bit, but within 3 minutes, I have the whole presentation. This one I have not used, but I heard good things about it. If you like to write blogs, if you have blogs out there, we have activepieces.ai. So again, logos.com. Okay, logos.com. I've used this in the past. If you're branding, if you're brand new and you need a logo, you can go here. But I would first go to ChatGPT and ask it to do some research for you on brand colors. Like Sylvia was talking about her whole branding. It gave her the whole everything she needs to do. It probably said to create a logo in there somewhere, and probably gave her kind of what it would look like, right? So, and then Big View, one of our sponsors here. So Big View, and everybody here is going to get a 30-day free Big View membership, and it's the Max edition. There's Pro, and then there's the Max. So Big View, if you're scared to take video, right? This will literally give you exact script of what you're going to put on there. Okay, it will clip it for you. It will do everything. It will even create an AI avatar of you. So, yes. So, you're all going to get 30 days free on this. Reevaluate. Love this. Okay. So, this is a little pricey, $139 a month, but who has a database that's dead, or they think's dead, or they just haven't followed up with, or whatever? Regenerate will go in. It will look at your database every year, up to 2,000 contacts. It'll process them, and based off all the algorithms, it will let you know who's most likely to move in the next couple months based off the database you already have. Okay, so what does it do? I don't know, but I know some of the things that it does. Like, it will look at, like, who said data was king earlier? It was Barkley. There is so much data out there that, Amazon and Netflix and all that, and they all sell their data, and they know if somebody's pregnant and having their second child, and the likelihood of somebody to move if they're having their second child is very high because they need more space, right? So it uses that type of stuff, those types of algorithms to do that. And then my favorite is manus.ai. So this is, Barkley laughed at me earlier, I was like, this is ChatGPT on crack, right? This is, it's in depth. Now, ChatGPT has the new thinking model, but this is better. This goes in and researches everything. So I used this the other day. I do a lot of direct mail, and I'm getting it ready to expand my direct mail market in January. So I do direct mail, and I'm going from 2,500 up to 5,000. And I went to Manus and I said, Manus, I want you to look in these zip codes and these postal routes and tell me which neighborhoods have the highest turnover of homes that's above the average sales price and that is not new construction, because I'm not going to resale new construction, right? It took about 15, 20 minutes. Manus takes longer. It's not instant gratification, but the research is amazing. So it came out with like 4 subdivisions and told me exactly how many homes, how many sell. You could even go in and say, is an agent already dominating in that neighborhood? And it will get you that information. It's not exact. Nothing's 100% with AI, but it's gives me a pretty good start on knowing where I'm going to go market my next subdivision. Okay.
Does it identify the agent that has the market share?
I didn't go that far. I was just thinking that was kind of be my next question for it is who's dominating that, and I don't know if it can get all that or not. I think this is my last, maybe one more AI tool after this. So Magic Plan, who pays their photographer an extra like $80 to get the floor plan? Anybody do that? I think this is $10 a month, and you literally just use your phone and AI and capture the room, and it'll build a whole floor plan for you. So AI, it's a way to leverage. Again, most of these that I talked about are all less than $20 a month. They all, usually give you a better discount. Going back to your buyback rate, right? If you can hire somebody to do it for $35 an hour or less, well, this is one AI tool could save you hundreds of hours a month for $20. Some people are like, well, I'm not going to pay the upgraded version of ChatGPT. Well, you're just stupid. If it's going to save you that much time, once you figure it out, right? You may wait, give it a month before you figure out how to prompt better. And I love it because I hate typing, so I can just talk into my phone and just go. It saves it. Then I go to my computer. I love it. So now let's build our dream team. Okay. So how can we scale your business? And as soon as I get done, I got a couple more minutes. As soon as I get done, we'll take a break, and then we'll have all the sponsors, and then we got our panel. Scale your business and transform your life with virtual assistants. So again, this has changed my life. I got my first virtual assistant probably, it was when Craigslist was still really big. Everybody remember posting on Craigslist to get leads? I hired a guy in the Dominican Republic, and he'd have to log into my computer at home through Go to My PC. Does everybody remember that? Before they had virtual IPNs and all that. And he'd log in there and he'd post in Craigslist, and he'd post like 80 properties a day for me to generate leads on. And then it would go into, at that time, Boomtown, and it would scale that way. All right. But then really, and then my life, like everybody's life, goes up and down. Like I said, I've been divorced twice. I've had kids in my real estate career I've been doing it 27 years or 16. So I didn't have some VAs for a while. I wasn't really passionate about the leverage. I knew how to use leverage, but I wasn't passionate until right around COVID time, right? So during COVID, everybody was busy and doing everything. But what happened to me is I completely demolished my house during COVID. I was like, we're all going to be locked down. I'm going to finally rehab my house. So I gutted it top to bottom. And right after it was gutted, before I started to build it back up, because I like doing a lot with my own hands, but before I could get it up and going, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Graves' disease. So it's kind of funny because the average person who gets Graves' disease is a female under 30 years old, and here I'm like in my upper 40s and not female. So I couldn't do anything for 18 months. My resting heart rate for a whole month and a half was 160 beats per minute, resting, right? So anyway, I couldn't do anything for almost 18 months. Luckily, my real estate business was running about how I wanted it. Luckily, I had some revenue share coming in from a previous company and some stock and some other savings. So nothing done for 18 months, but then I was like, I need to get going again, and I need some leverage. So I started looking into virtual assistants again to really ramp it up, and it literally changed my life. So again, we feel overwhelmed, you need to hire help. Who feels like they're working too much and they could leverage something out here, right? There's some of us, okay. Help is expensive though, right? So here's the cost of you hire somebody in the United States. This is why I love virtual assistants. The average, $40,000 to $60,000 a year, right? Then you need to get health insurance for them. Then you need to pay payroll tax, probably give them some paid vacations. If you've been in this business for a while and you've had employees, who's ever gotten behind on payroll tax? God, that sucks. because the fines are enormous, right? Then this generation, a lot of them feel entitled, right? They're only going to come in at 9 and they're going to leave at 5 and they're watching the clock and, it's not my job, it's their job, right? So VAs, we don't have that. Ton of hiring. Your first tactical advice for hiring, hiring VAs, we're going to break the model, right? Get rid of the traditional hire. We're going to talk about, this is me talking about becoming obsessed with leverage, right? So my goal is to have everything leveraged out. I want VAs. I have about 3 VAs right now. My goal is to have 10 because every time I think of something now, I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, a friend and CEO of the company, I have my company, 80/20 Virtual Assistants. It's on the platform of Sphere Rocket. So if anybody knows Justin Nelson, he literally has a VA that he has a camera in his fridge, and when the food gets to a certain level, the VA will order, and have his groceries delivered to his house so it's ready to go. That's next level thinking of leverage, right? So the leverage mindset. Here's some books that changed my life that I want you guys to take a picture of. So Life in Air is that literally changed my life and how I looked, my outlook on life. Buy Back Your Time is the new 4-hour work week. So has anybody read the 4-hour work week? Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell is the new 4-hour work week. It's an amazing book. Plus you can watch him on YouTube. And then Who Not How. This is an amazing book. So instead of figuring out how to do something, figure out who can do it. Somebody else has already done it. They know it better than you do. Quit trying to figure out how to do it, right? Just figure out who can do it for you. Okay, so determine which positions you need to grow in your business. These are the top 9 in real estate that you need to have. Okay, so in no particular order, it all depends. If I said which ones are best for, if I just told you which ones are best, I'd be doing a disservice because I haven't talked to you. I don't know where you're at in your business. But for most, if you're brand new starting out, the admin executive, how would you like to never look at your emails again? Never. Or maybe look at just one folder that has 2 emails because your executive assistant went through and got rid of everything or answered stuff for you. I mean, if somebody's emailing you because they need your updated headshot, why are you taking the time to do that? Why are you taking the time to get them your headshot instead of just having your assistant do it, right? So executive assistant, here's the business journey, okay? Every real estate company needs these 4 areas, right, to run successfully. Marketing, lead generation, sales and conversion, fulfillment, and admin support. If you don't have these, you're not going to have a company running, or you'll have a broken company. And here's what happens is you may be great at marketing, but you suck at converting, right? I know some agents that can generate a ton of leads, but they can't convert it, right? Or they'll go on, I'm like, you go on how many listing appointments, but you only have a 50% conversion rate on your listing appointment? Maybe we need to learn some scripts and dialogues, right? Fulfillment, admin support, I suck at that. Like, I'm a hunter, man. I can go out, I can get the leads and I can convert them, but the follow-up, like my database, like I don't even know. Like I never follow up. Like it's like that's been a downfall for me for years. Okay, so the power of leverage. Again, time saved, $12,000 per deal. Who thinks they could get a deal if they focused 20 hours, the full 20 hours on those top producing activities and not that busy work? Quit going to those broker opens, right? It's just a waste of time.
$25 gas card now.
Okay, and how much are you worth an hour? And a taco. Right, and a taco. Yeah, I guess if you're hungry. Okay, so we've talked about the task audit. Also, what should you not be doing in your business? What should you not be doing? Your business needs to do this, but you don't. The client nurturing, the business development, the operations, right? You don't need to do that. You need to focus on that 20% that gets you more business or that allows you to start and move into another aspect of your business, okay? You see people like Don up here who runs a real estate business, who's a coach who runs Epic Essentials, and she's probably got like 4 jobs. How does she have time for all that? 7. Is that what we figured out the other day? Okay, so what increases sales? Okay, if you could follow up on every lead and continuously follow up, would that increase sales? So eliminating limiting beliefs on virtual assistants. So I got a couple more minutes here. Language barrier. Who thinks that, okay, I don't want them calling for me because they're from the Philippines. Some of them do have a language barrier. Don't put them in positions where they're going to have to call people, okay? But there are a lot of our VAs in the Philippines that speak perfect English. And guess what? We live in a diverse country, okay? There's probably people in here that speak different languages. And if you're saying, well, I'm not going to hire them because they speak a different language, then what are you saying about other agents in this room, okay? But if you're hiring for a sales position, you go in and you only hire people that have good speaking ability. Education level, like most of our VAs making $5 an hour have a college degree. If you get up to $6, $7 an hour, we're talking MBA, right? And just don't think about hiring the cheapest, okay? We'll talk about that. In-person hiring versus, we kind of talked about this. What's it going to cost you to hire one admin assistant here? Roughly $51,000 to hire one. You could have 5 full-time VAs working for you for $51,000 a year, okay? The average cost of a VA hire, right? This is at $6 an hour, I believe, so $7,200 annual. That's 40 hours a week. In the Philippines, they do believe in what they call a 13th month. So it's in Christmas time. You pay them a full month's salary as a bonus. So just figure that in your costs. So a total for one is $7,840. Okay. Choose the right approach. You can do traditional VA companies. So there's companies out there. Here's what you get with them. You're going to pay $9 an hour and usually a startup fee of a couple $1,000 for them to find the VA. And then you're going to pay $9 an hour. That's about average. Sometimes you'll find it at $8. What are they doing? They're going and they're finding the $3 an hour VAs and they're keeping the rest. So you're getting bottom of the barrel VAs. Not that they're bottom of the barrel. I have a VA right now that I'm paying $3 an hour and he's awesome, right? Anybody see the video for the Real Estate Roadshow that we put out? He did that in like 15 minutes, right? Clipped it, cut it, did everything, $3 an hour. Okay, so those traditional VA companies, they'll cost you, if by the time you got 3 VAs, you're paying them $2,000 for every new VA that you get. It's costing you money. You can do it yourself, right? And Fiverr, Upwork, virtual assistants, you can find them all over the world. You just tell them like a certain project that you want and let them do it. This is great for if you just have a one-off project, right? Hey, I just need a logo made and the AI wasn't happy with it, or I just need this one thing done. Problem with this is they also have 30 other people that they're working for, so they're not loyal to you, right? So you don't know exactly what you're getting. And build the right foundation and plan. So documentation. A lot of people worry about, well, how am I gonna onboard them, right? Our company takes care of that. We have all the tools that you guys need. I'm going to have Bartley hand out some cards here. What I'm going to give is you guys a free gift. Fill out this card and just drop it off over here and then scan this QR code, the smaller one right here. And I'm going to give you a gift of who would like to have, like, everybody knows what an SOP is, standard operating procedure. How would you like to have a standard operating procedure for all 9 of those different VA positions available, right? So I'm going to give that to you. I'm getting close on time here. So why are you laughing, Don?
No, I just love how you keep saying, I have more of it. No, you
I do.
We're gonna let you.
I know.
This is really good stuff. So I want you to keep going. And I just want to say too, like, I was just telling Sylvia, like, I don't know if you know, well, I know you know this, but I used Spirit Rocket about 3 years ago, and I hired 2 VAs. One been for over 3 years, and I absolutely love her to death. Like, she's like family.
That's how Don has 7 different jobs.
Well, now I have 4 VAs, but
Yeah.
I had let one go and found other ones through different things. So everything he's saying is spot on.
Yeah.
I love it.
So here's where I would start with these 3. If you were brand new or just getting into VAs, admin VA right off the bat, just to handle all those emails, those. I mean, you can have them doing it. They can do a lot of social media posting for you, right? Then a social media VA, guys. If you're not getting out there on social media, you're already falling behind. Like we were talking about this 10 years ago. All right, I'm going to go through. So who wants to master? Let's see. So there's a free gift. So we'll talk, if you want, we can do a quick 15, 20-minute coaching call on doing your 80/20 audit and figure out exactly what the best VA for you would be. And so that's about all I have. This is some of our tasks. So we'll give you all the task lists, the top 50 tasks, because a lot of people hire a VA and they're like, what do I do with them, right? What do I even start them out? So how would you like, we'll give you exactly what to do the first 30 days, the first 60 days, the first 90 days. So you have that. You have a standard operating procedure. We also will train your VA on how that they know they're going to be held accountable. So I have an open Zoom room. So I have the Zoom opened up where my VAs are on there 24/7. So anytime I can just go in there, not 24/7, but during my normal work hours, I can go in there and just talk to them anytime. All right. So that's about, let me see. Again, this is everything you're going to get. Daily schedules, the 30, 60, 90s, 20 tips and tricks for best success with VAs, access to 4 mastermind videos, and then just fill out that card and bring it over. So again, that's all I have. I want to thank our sponsors again. Don't leave, we're going to have some sponsors talk. And then, so, all right, I think we're ready. What?
Let's let the sponsors talk before
Okay.
we take our break.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, Barb, do you want to?
Yeah. Come on up to the front, please.